welcome to the August 28th, 2013 School Board meeting. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I have to say, I really like having you guys down here. It is a bit more intimate, and that way I can tell if you're sleeping or not. Roll call, please, Mrs. Calanda.
Mrs. Applebaum? Here. Mr. Applebaum? Mr. Jacob?
Here.
Mr. Major?
Here.
Mrs. Mogerman?
Here.
Dr. Ciartino?
Here.
Mrs. Feldman?
Here, thank you. 3.0, we have no special recognitions tonight. 4.0, additions, corrections, and modifications to the agenda. There is one correction to 10.09, purchase of HVAC repair parts and units, and in addition to the personnel section, line 169. 5.0, citizen statements. I believe there are none. We're just zipping right along tonight, folks. Call for executive session. There is none. 7.0, approval of the agenda for August 28th, 2013. May I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. 8.0 resolutions, there are none tonight. 9.0 communications. 9.01 calendar of meetings. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education is scheduled for Wednesday, September 11th, 2013, at Central Middle School at 7:30 p.m. But with a footnote, check your calendars. It might be at 7 p.m. We'll let you know. 9.02 board liaison reports. Bruce, anybody?
No.
Tim? Dee?
I just had a comment. I just want to congratulate everybody at Parkway given the new MSIP 5 results. There's a song out there that some of you might remember hearing. This is the moment, tonight's the night. The ceiling can't hold us, so I'm not bragging, but I'm awfully proud of Parkway for an incredible accomplishment.
Well, I have to report on the first day of school. We have 3 new principals this year in Parkway, and Dr. Marty suggested that those would be the schools that I should visit. So I was first at Northeast Middle, and it's like the kids never left for the summer. They just walked in like they were there yesterday, going about their business, knowing what to do. Every once in a while somebody looked up at their new principal, but not really. They just were very focused on getting to class, seeing their friends, finding out where their lockers were, and just like a regular day. And then I went to Carmen Trails and Wren Hollow, and I just had a great time watching the kids walk in, and they were so excited to see their new principal and see their teachers, and parents were all taking pictures, and it was just a great first day of school. And then the last bus pulled up, and off came 2 kind of large students, Dr. Marty and Will Rosa, riding the South area buses with students on the first day of school. But it was just a great day all around, and I think we're off to a really good year so far. Okay.
Could I just thank you, and I would just say that I think, so I speak for a lot of our staff, and we've been a lot of these folks have been out in the schools. It's really been a great start, and not only our new principals, but our veterans and veteran staff are really doing a great job. And like you said, the results last week of the MSIP 5 have really kind of inspired us, but we also know we have a lot of work to still do to make sure we reach all students, but it's been a good start combined with some really good news. So thank you very much. And it was good to pull up and see the board president at Carmen as well.
10.0 action items. Are there any items that should be pulled to action or to
Mrs. President, I'd like to pull 10.16 for discussion.
Okay. Anybody else?
Madam President, item 10.17.
Great, thank you. Okay, may I have a motion and a second to approve the other items other than 10.16 and 10.17?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Now we're going to revisit 10.16. Mr. Jacob.
Madam President,
Yeah.
I think on the personnel items, 10.02, Line 115, Dr. Sortino probably needs to recuse himself on that one.
Did I miss that? Which one is that?
I believe it's line 115, 10.02. I always make cryptic notes to myself, so before we get that in the record.
Line 15, did you say?
115.
115.
Did I miss something?
It's, I think, the first attachment.
Carol already has that.
Okay, we.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So we're going to go on to number
Well, thank you for-
10.16.
Thank you
Call
for
Mr.
alerting
Jacobs.
Better
me.
safe than
I
sorry.
looked at this and I didn't.
Mrs. Glenda took care of it.
Yeah, great, thanks.
I'm going to ask Scott Bennett if he'll come down, and really, I don't have I wanted him just to bring the board up to date on where we are with the CNG project, since we're approving a bus tonight, and that's all I wanted really for him, just to bring us up to date.
Oh, there he is. Okay, sorry. Michael's looking around.
Thank you, Scott.
Good evening. We have, well, where we're at right now is we're waiting for the 100% submittal from Raimundo Engineering on the final design. They couldn't finish until we were settled on the equipment, which we're doing tonight. Then they'll be able to wrap up the design for the actual site. You approved at the last board meeting the Laclede gas contract to extend the gas main from 141 back to the fueling station site. So I would think our schedule right now is sometime by the end of the month to have the 100% submittal in and reviewed. And then they'll make some corrections and we'll go out for bid to actually assemble everything on the site. It's, once this, assuming you all approve the motion tonight, it'll be about a 3-week period till we get shop drawings from the equipment supplier. We'll turn that review around within a week. And then they've said it's about a 16-week delivery on the equipment after approval of shop drawings. That's what we had built into our schedule, so that falls in line with the schedule that we had published earlier. So we're moving forward. We had to change from a system to a fast fill system due to some code issues with keeping them out from underneath overhead power lines, and unfortunately our campus basically has overhead power lines everywhere. So we didn't couldn't find a space to actually put all the slow fill dispensers, but we did find a place where we could put the fuel station and two fast fill stations, and we worked that out with transportation that will work on filling their buses. So that's kind of where we're at. Can I answer any questions?
Just wanted the board to be, I could have asked you, but I thought it'd be good for the board to hear it too.
Sure. Anyway, we're progressing along, and so far so good. The bids came in good on the equipment. So
So will the buses be delivered even though the CNG station won't be finished?
it's I will
That's not a
think we
question
probably
for
need
you,
to talk
is
to that. My understanding is yes, the buses will be in a little before we get finished.
Okay, but we won't be storing them for like 6 months or
No.
something?
I think Mr.
A
Stockwell.
month or two, I think, is all we're talking about.
Okay.
Mr. Stockwell, I think, has more details to share.
We have talked about that, and if there's a few weeks that they're in before the station's finished, there are fueling stations at the airport, and then there's one near the Metrolink station, and I can't think of the town on 44. But we have two options to fill for a few weeks, a short period of time. So
Isn't one bus coming in? or-
we are ordering one. We have actually ordered one bus to kind of do some testing with. It should be here, I think, in October. And then
So when we have all the buses in there, eventually, I'm assuming that'll make a lot less noise in the morning than the diesel? Or is that not correct?
They'll run cleaner. I don't know how much.
That will be nice.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be. That was my hope.
I mean,
Our hope, I think.
that'd be a nice byproduct anyway.
It would be.
We should have cleaner
So
air.
make that work, okay?
Not guaranteeing better sound, just cleaner air.
Cheaper fuel.
Yeah, a lot cheaper, $1.65 a gallon.
2 out of 3 straight.
All right.
All right, great.
And the other, I guess the other advantage of going to a fast fill system is that allows us to leverage it further down the line if we want to.
So for the community.
You don't have to, we won't have to extend a slow fill system out to more dispensers. You just pull up and a fast fill fills up just like a diesel pump or a gas pump. So, more buses, or down the road, if you want to look at the maintenance fleet, converting some of those, that's an option.
Thank you, Scott.
All right. Thank you,
Anybody
Scott.
have any more questions, or should we have a motion and a second to approve 10.16?
So moved.
Second.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion. Oh, I forgot about that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I just want to see if you were paying attention.
Almost didn't.
Motion carries 6-0. Okay, now we're going to talk about 10.17. Mr. Major.
Let's see, on my final read-through, I noticed an inconsistency between the board policy document, BE.BP, and the guidelines, BE.G, and the use of the term executive session and meeting in the guideline, I think, is not correct under the Missouri Sunshine Statute, and therefore, for consistency's sake, we should use the term closed to replace executive throughout.
That was my thought exactly, too. I looked it up, too. So,
Glad to know you guys are checking those
well,
things.
it's fun.
All right.
Our hobby, right?
Better late than never, again.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about that policy while we're talking
That
about
we
it?
adhere
That's
to
probably
it faithfully. Right. We never waver, right?
Eva.
Well, I think we wanted to let the community know what the policy is, and that is that we're going to be changing the start times of our board meetings till 7 p.m. So hopefully, everybody involved can get home a little bit earlier. And we hope that's
Well,
okay.
we'll have more time.
All right, anything else on 10.17?
And that will take effect in September.
September 11th. That's why when I was doing the calendar, I mentioned that. Okay, so 10.17, may I have a motion and a second to approve 10.17 as amended?
So moved?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Okay, before we go on, I see we have a scout in the room. Will you tell us what your name is and where you're from and what you're doing here? Talk real loud so we can hear you. Where are you from? Where do you go to school? I didn't hear you. Okay, and what are you doing here tonight?
There's a microphone coming your way.
Might as well get the full effect. Go ahead, start over, why don't you?
Okay, I am Aaron Ginsburg, and I am from Solomier's Jewish Community School, and I am here for the Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge,
What troop?
805.
Great, well, we welcome you. We hope that our meeting is interesting for you. I happened, just by coincidence, happened to be in your school this morning. Very nice school. Yes, we saw each other, didn't we? You didn't mention that. Okay, there you go. Good to see you again. Thank you. Anybody else here of special recognition? Any teachers or other students? Okay, great. Thanks. Now we're going to move on to 11.0 action items. There are none. 12.0 reports. There are none. We're going to get to our work session. District goals and highlights of 2013. Desi Kirchhofer.
Good evening, President Feldman, Vice President Mogerman, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Marty, Secretary Klanda. Tonight I'm here to represent the Superintendent Action Team, and the goal is to give you a brief overview of the upcoming goal reports that you'll receive throughout the year at the board meetings. Essentially, it should be a review session for the board because most, if not all, the bullet points were presented to you at our summer retreat. And that's a good thing on two separate levels. The first being you're a very well-informed board, and second be you're keeping us focused and on our commitment to align our work strongly align our work to our goal areas. So again, the goal of this evening's presentation is to provide an overview of the work that lies ahead under each goal area, with more detailed reports coming throughout the year. However, if you do have any specific questions related to a particular goal area, the Superintendent Action Team leaders are here tonight to assist. This slide, I always like to kind of throw it up there. I know you've seen it several times, and it kind of changes and evolves. Eventually, probably very soon, we'll have a list that no one can read because the font will be too small or would require multiple slides, but really just to emphasize some of the major projects and changes that have occurred throughout the year. I won't go through each bullet point, but certainly there has been power through this structure called Project Parkway that we started in 2009. Moved some very positive initiatives forward and has really changed the culture of our school district. The work will continue with the similar structures and leaders from last year. I mentioned the other day at our Superintendent's Action Team meeting that for the first time in my 6 years, it was the same returning Superintendent's Action Team, which was a really good feeling. And so to have the same people and the same commitment level around the table. So leading and communicating the work will be the members of that group. And the structures will stay very similar that we've seen on our placemat, that our district action teams, advisories, quarterly Project Parkway meetings will continue to meet and be led by district administrators. So getting into the specific goal areas, goal 1 and 2 regarding capable and curious, obviously I always have to remember to point out that every one of the goals that we have is interconnected and related. I think we've separated them in categories so we can maintain the logistics of some of the work and present it in an understandable format, or else it would be crossed over all over the place. But I would say when we do categorize these, this work is led by Lisa Meredith and the work of the Teaching, Learning, Accountability Department. And some of their bullet points include the implementation of Missouri Learning Standards, which you know include our Common Core state standards as well. Continue the creation and revision of high-quality district common assessments. And this is going to be a continuous process of learning and adjusting and learning and adjusting. So a lot of the things that you end up seeing throughout this are things that are part of a continuous growing process. So it isn't necessarily a check mark. Yes, it's done. It's done for now, and we're going to keep working and improving. Same thing goes with the improved grading and feedback reporting process. I think you'll have some reports later on in the year that may show that some of our practice will be what I would term less traditional, more competency and standards-based feedback. Creation and implementation of rigorous relevant learning experiences. I think this is an important bullet point just because making the kids feel connected and seeing the relevance of what they're learning connected to real-world experiences. And then support progress monitoring, intervention, classroom, collaborative team building at district levels. And this work is really, really embedded heavily and supports the work we're doing with our professional learning communities. Goal 3, again, we've sort of categorized these towards people and department, but it's the work of all. But right now, Dr. Chelsea Watson and the Student Services Division is handling a lot of the leadership of this area. The character core competencies and performance descriptors to kind of help describe what does this look like in action? What does character education look like in a classroom and in our curriculum? As far as school climate and character education commitments, it's a combined effort to really help establish a common language and norms and efforts to, one of our goals originally when we started Project Parkway was the discussion around bullying, and it's still addressing those issues through proactive by giving schools common language and practices, or as Stu Cabe would tell us, to be nice in most cases. The career pathways, again, that's going to be an effort to show the relevancy of the work, but also courses aligned and programs aligned with career choices for students. Moving on to Goal 4. A lot of this work will be done. I'll be connected with it and with the implementation in the schools, as well as all the folks behind me. And Liz Morrison and the Professional Learning Action Team will have a lot to do with the continuation of our work in the professional learning communities, continue our late start days, and also our school buildings have certainly worked to provide more opportunities for teachers to collaborate on a daily basis. A deeper focus this year on the development of questions 3 and 4. In other words, I'll review those real quick. Questions 3 and 4. What do we do when they don't understand, and what do we do when they already get it? And moving on. Also focus on the successful implementation and supervision of the professional learning communities or collaborative teams. So the Professional Learning Action Team, part of their work throughout the years to design look-fors, rubrics, to really monitor the work and establish a criteria for what it looks like to have a successful collaborative team. Goal 5, with the recruitment and development, falls naturally to Joy Torgerson and the work of the HR department. The certified evaluation models will be in full implementation. Again, that's similar to our assessments, though. We do have a group that will continually monitor those and maybe make adjustments, changes, so they'll always be under reviewed. And I think the electronic versions lend itself to more rapid changes and implementation. The evaluation model is also a big push to require, and it's been approved, that the models meet the state student achievement requirements. So it's still determining part of what that might look like or how that will be measured, but it will be part of our evaluation process for our certified staff. Our operations staff evaluation system will be more aligned with the other evaluation systems and go on the peers system for tracking. And then our new educator induction differentiated by position and individual needs. So in other words, kind of like our learning targets, we want to make it more personal and customized for our adult learners as well. And that also corresponds with the next one, that we'll have some online courses available. Kind of the way we learn as adults is changing as well. So. And Goal 6, led by, generally speaking, say Mark Stockwell, and a lot to do with Mike Mertens and the facilities crew. But the finance, facilities, and resource allocation, you've heard a lot about Facilities 2020 and the ongoing work there. Big focus, we have the 4 upcoming meetings this fall by area. And then also in the winter, spring time, we'll dedicate the opening sessions of our general Project Parkway meetings to Facilities 2020 planning and the future of our facilities as well. You heard about the CND bus project and had the update on that this evening. Energy efficiency will continue with the sustainability measures and operational efficiencies. Again, that's no different than some of the other initiatives we've talked about a little bit tonight, but they're always kind of an examination process, looking for ways to improve, just like everything else we're working on. So, all in all, we wanted to kind of update you just to kind of illustrate that each month throughout the year, you'll receive a goal report and incorporate it within some of the board meetings as well. You have 3 program evaluations that you'll be updated on this year. Health and the PE program evaluation, our health services program evaluation, and technology and innovation program eval is up this year as well. So along with all the goal reports, and there'll be other work sessions throughout the year, but I think our calendar is full. I think the 7 o'clock start time was a wise decision based on the work that lies ahead. And again, then we'll cap the year off with reviewing where we are with our whole strategic plan as we look ahead, because we set this one for the 2016. We're sort of in the middle, but we still need to be looking ahead, and so that'll be our kind of some of our summer, spring and summer work too, looking at what it's going to look like in 2020, 2021. So with that, that's your general overview. If you have any specific questions, I'll ask others to help out. But again, tonight's objective was to present you what will be the overview for the year, and you'll get details reports in each goal area throughout the year.
Thank you, Desi. Go ahead, Bruce.
Just on the, I guess, administrator evaluation model, I think that was coming along, but my memory fails me as to where we are on that. And
We are at a place where we are implementing it. It is online on Peers. There's still some glitches to work out. Joy, is that safe to say? A couple things that we're learning as we use it.
blame it on technology.
I am going
Is
to
that
brag and then probably have to confess later, but I will brag right now that I was able to do on Peers after getting training from Joy and Liz earlier this week. I was able to do 28 interactions with all of our school principals from the start of the year. So we've been involved and I've got a couple of them. They're still working through finding out where those interactions ended up and who they got sent back to, but we're figuring all that out. But we are working on the system, and we're learning together. But it is up and running, and we're discovering some things that we probably can improve along the way. But I think it is going to be a much more efficient way, quicker way to get feedback.
Okay, and I'm sure those building administrators will be happy to work you through the steps of the process, since they've already been doing it for a couple of years. So.
They are. They're more than happy to let me know when I've screwed up. Thank you very much.
Who's got a question? I have a question. Can you explain what the supervision of PLCs looks like?
Yes, to a certain extent. I think that's what's in development. So there's a plan this year. Liz Morrison working with the Professional Learning Action Team. So it's a group of teachers, representatives from each building. And what they're doing actually is creating the rubric and descriptors for the collaborative team leaders to be able to evaluate, whether they're following their norms, what it looks like, whether they're following their protocols, whether they're, staying with their SMART goals. So all those indicators they're going to incorporate in a document that allows people to evaluate if they're sitting and supervising one of the collaborative teams at work. So it's sort of in development, but ultimately, when we set our goal for the measurable objective, it's based on student achievement. So our overall district goal still remains the same, that we want to see student achievement results from our collaborative teams. But we also want to have a way of assessing and have some norms district-wide to what we think a good working collaborative team looks like in operation. So if we go in on when we make our school visits on the late start days, we can have some type of guidance as to what the look-fors are in a successful collaborative team.
But who's actually doing the supervising? The collaborative team leader, or does the school administrator have any part in that?
I think it'll be a combination. It'll be both. It'll be a document for use for the collaborative team, but also, part of our teacher evaluation program already has some structures in there for the administrators to talk about professional conduct and the way people work together. But this will offer another tool for them to look at specifically when it is a collaborative team meeting.
And do we have strategies worked out for when the collaborative teams aren't collaborating?
We change their teams and reassign them. No. No. We do have actually a lot of times it's really been a focus about collective responsibility and accountability, and so it's really training and building that leadership capacity within the teams to be able to safely call each other out when the norms aren't being followed. Does it work perfectly in all occasions? No. And to be honest, I joked about switching teams randomly. But sometimes in our first year of full implementation, we did find that, you might have two people that maybe should have been collaborative team leaders on the same one, and they would have strengthened another grade level or another subject area, for example, in the high school. So really there can be some adjustments made based on that, based on the personalities. It's still a people business too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Could I also say that part of the supervision might be to determine what's the ongoing professional development needs, both from self-assessment as well as what we're all seeing, because we want to continue to grow PLCs. This is what we saw last year was a great start, but we would expect every year that our PLCs are going to get stronger. They're going to go deeper with data.
Yeah. That's actually an excellent point, because with the documents board, people can do some self-assessment. And what we know about student work and student learning, some of the most powerful things they could do is assess their own work and be given feedback on that. So the document will also provide an opportunity for guidance on what their own work should look like. So is this how we're operating as a collaborative team? So a way when those norms may be in question or someone's not getting along, there'd be an opportunity for that group to revisit, well, here's the way it's designed and what it should look like.
Are there prepared agendas ahead of time for
Yes.
each of the teams so that the principal could have access to knowing, what the agenda items are for that particular
Yeah.
session?
In most the schools have different systems, whether it's just shared folder or whether it's a cloud opportunity. But yes, or there may be just a submission to the principals. But yes, the agendas are shared ahead of time.
So are agendas for the next meeting planned at that particular session so that the group knows what's going to happen the next session?
Yes, and someone else could add on that. But go ahead, Liz. You look like you're.
Wait, Liz, you want to do it in the microphone?
So what our instructional coaches work with the PLC leaders the week before the meeting, and for this one, they're getting ready for their first agendas for the teams to be using next time. So at on the 4th, they'll be taking notes on their agendas. Then based on that, the instructional coaches will figure out the individual development that's needed for those teams to move the work forward. Then they'll create the agendas the week ahead of time so everybody knows what's happening. Yeah.
So they work with each team to accomplish that?
Yeah.
Right, and most of the teams work more frequently than the once a month.
Yeah.
Oh,
and yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, yes.
So how does the teamwork continue outside of the late start dates?
Well, that's the schools have put together schedules that allow, say, for example, it's probably been a bigger structure struggle at the high school just because of class sizes and balance in classes. But what we try to do is give common planning period for, if we have all Algebra 1 teachers, you're going to have a team that has common planning time that they can get together. And in elementary schools, by the grade level and by the teams in middle school, allows for that natural structure to occur.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you, Desi.
All right.
We look forward to hearing the reports as the year goes on.
Very good. Thank you.
14.0, policy review. 14.01, IKAA BPNG, student academic assessment. May I have Kevin Beckner come forward, coordinator of student assessment.
Hello, President Feldman, Vice President Jacob, members of the board, thank you so much for reviewing this policy. As you probably noticed on the board policy, the majority of them are changes just to reflect our current structures, titles, and things of that nature. Under the guidelines, some of them are just minor cleanups and things that make the standards of practice and other things more clear. The one addition that we do have is standard of practice 2 under the guidelines. Just trying to clarify what some of our responsibilities are under state guidelines, making sure that we're very clear that we are following the state guidelines in terms of state assessment and all students participating in those assessments, as well as having a written policy about students who may be delaying their EOCs. That is not required by the State Department for that to be a board policy, just that we have written procedures that are available upon request.
Okay.
So I'm happy to answer any questions about those.
I think it's self-explanatory.
Thank you.
Desi, can you come on back up and talk to us about EBCB.BP safety drills, 14.02?
Yes, in addition to our regular scheduled safety drills that we already had, we wanted to make an addition, and this is based on a recommendation that we had from our local law enforcement meeting that we've hosted a couple meetings with the police chiefs in the area, and so one of the recommendations was to add a more safety alert drill and another intruder drill. So that's what we've done, is really just a guarantee that we're going to have 2 per school. Schools can do more than that and have done in the past, but at least we wanted to establish a minimum for all schools.
Okay, great. Any questions for Desi? Okay, thanks. Moving right along. 15.0 call for a special meeting. There is none. 16.0 call for executive session on September 11, 2013. This is my favorite part of the meeting. May I have a motion and a second that the Board of Education call for an executive session on Wednesday, September 11, 2013 at 6:30 p.m. and/or immediately. 6 o'clock? Right? Right. Thank you. 6 o'clock. And/or immediately following the regular meeting at Central Middle School for the purpose of considering, 1, legal actions, causes of action, or litigation involving the district in any confidential or privileged communication between the district or its representatives and its attorney, 610.021.1. 2, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by the district when personal information about the employees discussed or recorded, 610.021.3. 3, preparations on behalf of the district or its representative for negotiations with employee groups, including any discussion or work product, 610.021.9. And 4, individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, and records pertaining to employees or applicants for employment, 610.021.13.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Mrs. Applebaum?
Yes.
Mr. Jacob?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Mogerman?
Yes.
Dr. Ciartino?
Yes.
Mrs. Feldman?
Yes, thank you. Motion carries 6-0. 17.0 recess. 18.0 closed meeting. 19.0, may I have a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I didn't think so. Motion carries 6-0. At this time, we will adjourn.
Is
And
this
the-
a record?
I was going to say, the time is
Wow, it's not a record.
It's not.
about 9 minutes after 8.